The world is a diverse place, a place of wonder and culture, and differences between its people. Even within countries, there are gigantic differences between individuals, and today we are going to talk about one individual very different from the rest, Nathan Jack Fox Talbot. Our story starts in a hospital when an about-to-be mother is giving birth to her firstborn son, Nathan. As he comes out of the womb, here's what is said about him. You got a perfect baby, except for the size. He was very, very small back then, fitting only into the 10th percentile for weight. However, he was also different in the way that he was, as he was always told at least, smarter than most people. He did have an IQ of 147, which was discovered later, but another thing discovered later was that he had at least 4 different types of special needs. So why is this relevant? Well, it shaped his worldview, as for most of his life, until the point he went on to believe that for a very long time, though his parents wanted him to be Christian, as they were both ministers. Still, he had his beliefs and stuck with them, and that stayed the same for a very long time. He did go through a short period of Christianity, but he lost favor with it. Then one day, his birthday, January 2nd to be precise, he was given a book about ancient Greek stories, which he neglected for quite some time. But one day, he picked it up to read it, and suddenly, everything changed. As he read this book of Greek mythology, he became more and more interested in it, and he started to believe the stories were true. He started to believe everything that tried to explain the world was the correct way, and he went crazy with it. He thought of every natural phenomenon as a result of divine intervention, and that the world was a living, breathing being, shaping itself and being shaped by gods all of the time. He did believe the earth was round, but his other beliefs on geography were considered to be ridiculous. He even believed his own fantasies actually happened, and for this, he was sometimes shunned by his peers, as they all believed in either nothing or Christianity. They would ridicule him, and he was just simply, as far as he knew, hated. He went through a long period of being the outcast of the group, and he had a very small amount of friends, and almost nobody who wasn't his friend would hang out with him by choice. He felt it was his right to know everything, and yet knew nothing at the same time. He didn't understand why he knew nothing about society and how different his knowledge of the world was from everyone else's baffled him. Still, he kept going deeper and deeper down this path, and he just couldn't stop. You could almost say he was going mad, and despite the fact that he didn't show anyone signs of weakness, or any sign that he took offense to the actions of others, it was having a catastrophic effect on his mental health. He was getting out of control, though in some aspects, he became more normal. He was still crazy, but at least he was finally tall. In fact, he towered over everyone around him, other than a couple of people, and he was quite pleased, though his newfound height wasn't giving him much. He felt alone and broken. He felt like nobody cared about him or understood him. He had just accepted defeat, when one day he saw a glimmer of hope. Some of his classmates asked him to do a dumb dance from a popular video game, and he did it very poorly. He also found it made them laugh, so he did it more, until he was actually found to be funny by many people. And his new quest was to make everybody around him laugh their heads off. He finally found his calling, and he believed this was one of the best times of his life. He thought about his beliefs because of how little they served him in his life. He never really thought they were reasonable. Half the time it was because he wanted something to make him different from his peers. After a long thought process, he abandoned his old beliefs. He now believed in one thing, science. That didn't mean nothing stayed the same. For example, he still believed the economic ways of capitalism were stupid and that they should be changed. This was not the economic views of the Western worldview, which was strictly and purely capitalist. He was always going to be different, but he finally felt human. As the next year went by, the time he thought of as probably the best of his life, only rivaled by right now, he became better, stronger, faster. And he thought about how great his life was, and even when people didn't laugh at what he said, he's told that sometimes it was because they didn't want to get in trouble. He had found his calling, and that shaped his worldview more than anything. The end.